Welcome, fearless dreamers. This is new episode of the Unstoppable Immigrant Podcast. I am Martina, your pilot, and today we have a special guest and co-pilot, Juan Bendana. Buckle up, he's gonna take us to an amazing trip to Canada filled with laughter, fun, and high energy. Buckle up, and cabin crew, prepare for takeoff.
As a kid, I lied about almost everything.
Is it true that you are a college dropout?
I moved out of my parents' house into the city in Toronto, and I didn't know how I was going to pay rent next month. It's the project that I've poured the most time and energy and effort into out of anything I've ever done, and it comes out in August. So I'm super excited.
All right, Juan, welcome. I'm so happy that you found the time and we are here together recording this episode. So thank you for being the first male Canadian guest.
Amazing. Thank you for having me. I'm
Of
excited.
course. Yay. So please tell to our listeners, where in Canada are you from?
Toronto, Canada, and was born and raised outside of the city. But lived in the city for 6 or so years before I moved to Florida.
Amazing. And are your roots Canadian? Your parents, where are your parents from?
No, they're actually from Nicaragua. And they moved during the war in Nicaragua when they were 19 and 21. And they had my brother, my sister, and I, and they couldn't speak the language. And the story of them getting to Canada is actually insane because they arrived in February. They were 1921 in the winter time. First time they had seen snow, and they arrived to Toronto. They couldn't speak English, and they got a taxi. And that driver, to this day, they don't know who it was, but got them a hotel for a week, set them up with the embassy, set them up with classes to take English, bought them dinner that night, got them groceries for the week. Just a taxi driver in Canada, and immediately my mom fell in love with Canada, and that kind of started their life there. And then when they had us, they could sort of speak English, but we learned Spanish first. And I went to kindergarten not being able to speak English and had to learn English, being in sort of rural Canada. I was the only Juan anyone had ever met, and they looked at me and they were like, "You don't look like a Juan." And we kind of had to learn that along the way. So even though I was born in Canada, I definitely had that sort of like
Latin.
You're not from here feel.
Oh my
For
goodness. Well, first, I want to back up to the story with your parents and the taxi driver because that's an angel that helped them, and that's beautiful. Very touchy. I love the story. And okay, so tell us a little bit more about how was it to be Juan non-English speaking?
Yeah, it was definitely the trying to blend in when you stick out. And it was trying to fit into this dynamic of making friends and belonging in this new school that we were going to that was across the street from the house that we lived in. And it really was trying to put on a filter of what I thought people wanted and how I needed to act and how I needed to behave. So it was definitely tough not knowing anyone else that spoke Spanish or that was from a different background or culture. And then over time, I started to meet people that were, Filipino or that were Italian or just from different cultures. I was like, oh, I'm not the only one that experiences that same thing. So it was definitely a battle at the beginning, and I would make up names. I would tell people, I wouldn't lead with my name was Juan. I would say, oh, my name's John or Brad or Alex or names that people could pronounce. Because with kids, the name Juan is like Joan, like Juan, like what, W-O-N? Like people were so confused that I was like, I'm just going to make it easier for people. It's John. It's Brad. It's Alex. It's Brandon. And I would
How
just make
old
up.
were you?
This was when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old.
I love how smart it is because it is like you have to like first it was hard to adapt, I'm sure, right? And then you have to come up with the strategy like, oh my God, how I'm gonna make it easier for other people so that way you are basically accepted, right?
Yeah, you come up with coping mechanisms to fit into the box of what you think that you should be. So I fit the mold, but I use strategies to fit the mold that I thought were effective and would work. So I was like, yeah, I'll change my name. Sure, I'll try and change my voice. Sure, I won't let people know that I speak Spanish because when you learn English really early, like I didn't really have an accent in English. So people didn't even know I could speak Spanish.
Yes.
So I would just be like, yeah, I'm from Toronto. Yeah, I'm Canadian. And sort of this identity crisis where I was like, at the beginning, I was almost ashamed of being Nicaragüense because I didn't want people to judge the fact that I was different than them because that would mean a lack of acceptance and that wasn't something that I wanted. So I was like, let me just pretend and try and fit the mold of what I thought people wanted me to be. And it took time to like unlearn those things. Really did. Really took some time.
But I would only imagine that you didn't really think like that till a little later on when you were maybe like in high school, correct?
For sure. High school was a survival. It was a process of surviving the bully that would tear you down. It was surviving because when I was in high school, when I was a sophomore, Instagram came out. So it was the start of social. It was the start of, I remember Facebook, we would like say happy birthday on people's walls. Like that was still the thing. So it was still a balance of like, yeah, I was kind of stepping into my own and trying to find confidence in myself, but it was still a struggle because people judged you based on how different you were. And that difference wasn't really celebrated.
Of course.
It was made so that like, wait, like why you're not like us, so we don't accept you into this group. So then my strategy for that was become a chameleon. Chameleon. So I would be really good at blending with different groups. I was friends with every group, not one. I was friends with the soccer guys, with the football team, with the arts group, with the photography kids, with the science nerds. I was friends with them, with the theater kids. I was friends with them all. And then I would introduce all of these different groups to one another so that they could become friends. But that was the sort of the graduation of the coping mechanism. Let me be friends with everybody and let me adapt and mold and be a chameleon with everyone so I didn't need to fit into one or another group.
So then you have a great social skills.
Yeah, forcibly so, out of necessity. I was like, I have to figure out how to bring everyone together and make friends because I was so self-conscious that I was like, everyone is probably feeling that same way. Everyone probably feels a little self-conscious. Everyone probably wants to make friends. Everyone probably wants to fit in and belong and be a part of something. Everyone probably experiences self-doubt. So if I can be someone that can kind of bridge that gap for people, then maybe I'll be accepted. And it kind of worked in high school, at least.
That's so impressive. That's so smart. Wow. Do you have any memories from Nicaragua?
Oh, yes. Even though I wasn't born there, I would go every year.
Okay, your parents took you.
To visit, yes. We would go every single year. And the memories of that were really reinforcing the idea that I wasn't from there. Because for those of you that are watching, I'm not what you would call a quintessential Nicaragüense.
Absolutely.
People are like, you're from Nicaragua? To this day, people are like, your name is Juan?
Yeah.
You look like a Brad.
Exactly.
You don't look Nicaragüense at all. So I'd go there and I would, even my family would be like, are you sure you're from Nicaragua? They'd be like, you're a gringo, some kind of
Exactly, you look like a gringo.
It was this reverse identity crisis where I was like, wait, am I not even from the country that I think I'm from? And people in Nicaragua would be like, gringo canadiense. And I'm like, no, I'm from here. My family is from here. My grandpa, literally, why I couldn't go back for a few years is because my grandpa was running for president against the dictator of Nicaragua. So I couldn't go back because
Whoa.
it was sort of it was a dangerous situation for me to go back to the country. So there was fond memories of going back, but there was also memories of going back to this country that I didn't feel like I was a part of.
Like you belong there, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
which was crazy.
So why do you think you have like the gringo look being Nicaraguan? Like, you know, like the typical stereotypical example of Nicaraguans are people who are maybe a little bit shorter and they have black hair and like, you know?
Moreno, darker
Yes,
skin, yeah, 100%.
moreno, yes.
Well, there's some, they call them cheles in Nicaragua, which are light hair, light eyes. But there was people in my family, my grandpa was light hair, light eyes, and some people in Nicaragua, sort of similar to Colombia, that are just more fair-skinned, light hair, light eyes, but we're kind of like one in a thousand
Unique.
there. So you feel like you're like, I don't even feel like I'm from, because everyone I meet from Nicaragua, they're dark hair,
Yes.
fair, dark skin, dark eyes, and my entire family's like that. So then people, even early on in elementary school, in middle school, in high school, they're like, oh, so you're adopted.
What a mean.
That was the thing. And that was, I remember they would be like, oh yeah, you're adopted. You're not really from Nicaragua.
Did that play with your head the entire time?
It did, but it also, because I always felt a little different, and that kind of reinforced that difference. And I was like, I know that I'm from Nicaragua, but it just felt like this identity crisis that I was grappling with, feeling like I just don't know if I belong here.
Have you ever felt like being less than Canadian or someone else because of being different?
Oh, because Canada's similar to the U.S. Like when you grow up, it's sort of this achievement status
Yes.
game. Where in high school, it's how good are you at sports?
Yes.
How many girls do you get?
Yes.
What social circle do you have? And then when you grow up, it's what car do you drive and what business are you in and how much do you make and what kind of life do you live? So it's very much so these signals that are given, that starts early. So I felt the difference in how I felt like I was like, I'm not really Canadian, but I'm not really Nicaraguense. Like, it doesn't feel that way, so I felt like I was stuck sort of in the middle. But I did feel like I kind of found my footing in being able to bring people together. That was my coping mechanism. I was like, I'm going to be friends with everyone, and I'm going to introduce all of these groups together, and I'm going to be the one that brings everyone together, and it's going to be great. And that's kind of the strategy that I used to get through it all.
Did it help you that, like, in a high school, you had friends from all over, so that way you feel like you're not the only one who is not Canadian?
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I felt like even though everyone was different, whether it was their background, where they were from, everyone was different in terms of personality. Everyone is different in terms of ambition. Everyone was different in terms of goals. So I realized, and seeing that difference allowed me to celebrate the fact that I was like, I do actually feel Canadian. I do actually feel Nicaraguense. I do feel like I have that be a part of me, but not the entire part of me. Because I don't think it's even healthy to say your entire identity is wrapped around a country or a profession or a relationship. Because so many people are like, well, I'm a doctor, or I'm a nurse, or I'm a teacher, and their entire identity is wrapped in that one profession, but then they get fired.
And they don't know who they are anymore.
And then everything falls apart. Yeah.
Wow. Do you remember any hardships that your parents had to go through?
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh. My mom, when she moved, she was a freelance proofreader. And she would take 2 buses to work. She had another job she was working. Then she'd come home, and at nights and on the weekends, she would be building her dream because she loved languages. She wasn't an A+ student. She was an 100% student in school. Like, she got 100 in everything. Like, she was like
smart.
Literally a genius in school. And she loved languages. And she wanted to build this translation interpreting company. And she would work on it at nights and on the weekends. And anytime we'd come home, she'd bring her laptop from the basement. She would bring it upstairs. So while we were watching TV, she could work on the business and be sitting there with us. And then when we go to sleep, she'd keep working. And then I saw her progression of us living in like a basement apartment to then moving into another apartment and then moving into a house that we built custom and like a 5-bedroom, like 2,000, 3,000 square foot home, like a nice home. I was like, and then getting like, I was like, okay, clearly things are working. I didn't know at the time she was building a business that was growing, and she built one of the largest translation interpreting companies in Canada out of nothing. And seeing her do that from nothing
it's inspiring.
was just, and she's the kind of person, she was never tired, would never complain. I've never seen her angry. I've never seen her stressed.
Oh, I need to interview your mom.
I've never, oh my gosh, you do. She is literally Mother Teresa. Anyone that meets her, she is always great, always in a good mood, always grateful, and just, she's never, like, you would never know she built a 7-figure business. You would never know, because she's so humble, and she's just happy to, like, it's insane. She is the most inspiring person you'll ever meet. And yeah, so, but I saw her from the ground of, like, we weren't the appetizer family. We'd go to restaurants and we could order mains, but we wouldn't order apps because it would make the bill a little too expensive. So now when we'll like go out to dinners, or they're coming to Miami for Christmas for the first time ever, and I'm so excited to like surprise them. My dad, like, we had a boat growing up, and my dad like loves boats, love being on the water. I'm excited to surprise them with like a 60-foot yacht and going out for the day, and just an amazing experience, because I was like, we're not gonna be that. Like, we're not gonna be that, though, okay, we can't get appetizers and we can't do this. But I saw the progression of that.
That's an old story that's no longer
100%,
existing.
100%. And yeah, just being able to be like, we're never, in our family, we're never gonna struggle again.
Oh my God, I have goosebumps. I'm so proud of you. Talking about Nicaragua and Canada, even though you didn't grow up in Nicaragua, what do you like about Nicaragua, and what do you like more about Canada?
What I love about Nicaragua is people will tell you how it is. They will tell you to your face how they feel at any moment. Yeah. I love that. I love the radical transparency. What I also love is the sense of community and family that, you know, people will just kind of show up uninvited. And even when they do, it's like, we have dinner for you. Or we're going to feed you. Yeah. Or do you want a coffee? Do you want to sit down? Like, you need a place to stay. Like, it's very much so that, where Canada's very different.
Yeah, a little colder.
Yeah. Like, not even colder in the sense of people in terms of how they interact, but Nicaragua and Hispanic culture is very much so like, you come over, you can stay for a few days. You can...
like a hospitable, you mean? Like,
yeah,
people
you always
are like,
have a seat at the table.
Yeah, like welcoming.
Yes.
And warm.
And you can stay until 9, 10. I remember when family members would come over to our house.
Oh, it's an all-nighter.
It's done. It's a wrap. I don't care if it's a Tuesday. They're staying until 1 in the morning. They're like, it's that kind of thing. And what I love about Canada is the identity of being nice. Because everywhere in the world, Canadians, they're nice. Like, they're nice people.
Yeah, all Canadians are nice.
And what happens when you give a certain group an identity, they start to live into that identity. So even though there's some jerks in Canada, most people actually are like, whoa, I live in Canada, Canadians are nice, that means I should probably live into that identity, because we reinforce the identities that we resonate with. So, for example, New Yorkers. I have a lot of friends from New York. New Yorkers are a lot of them that I've met are really kind, but there is this sense of like, New Yorkers are intense, they're get out of my wayness, I'm busy, I'm late, I gotta go. So I think what I really like about Canada is that like nice cultural identity that the world has given us.
Yes.
And a lot of people confirm that bias. And they confirm
Yes.
that belief. And they
Yes.
confirm that identity. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, like I haven't met that many Canadians, but every single one I've met is nice.
Yeah.
Like you too,
And it
nice.
reinforces that identity. They're like, oh, I guess we are nice.
You are nice,
And
yes.
then they keep that train going.
Yes.
You know?
So what is one thing about Canada you wish more people knew of?
That we're not, just playing hockey in the winter and drinking maple syrup and like go to igloos on our spare time for fun. Like it is a dynamic country with so many incredible people. Like people don't know, Toronto is the most multicultural city in the world, by the way.
No.
Yes, we have 5 Chinatowns. 5.
I was 9 years old when I found out.
People have no idea.
I
But
didn't
you
know, yeah.
go to Toronto, they have some of the greatest restaurants in the world. It's such a dynamic culture because Canada early on, in the early 90s, they were really like politically, from a political standpoint, they were the country that was very much so like, everyone come on in, come on board. And what that did is a lot of people from Nicaragua, from Colombia, from India, from Europe, they all felt welcome and could come build their lives here. And then they took on the identity of being Canadian. Like my mom, when she came, though she's from Nicaragua, she's like, I
proud
am
Canadian.
She's a proud Canadian. So I wish more people knew. It's like, no, it's actually an amazing country that has incredible talent that is created there, that has incredible people, that's just an awesome place with awesome people. Sure, it's taken its fair share of strange turns recently.
Yes.
And a lot of people, it's like, well, just join the U.S., become the 51st state, the whole thing. But I think it's an awesome country with awesome people and an awesome identity as a country.
Yes.
Like that I think took a little shot. And a lot of people had this moment where they're like, I don't want to be Canadian. I don't want to be considered Canadian. We have a history that we're not proud of. But I think at the end of the day, people now are, it's like, no, I'm actually really excited about the fact that I'm Canadian.
Yes, I love that. I have to ask this question because of Toronto. Have you ever seen Drake randomly in a restaurant or?
No, my sister a few months ago was out at dinner with a friend and Drake was sitting right beside her.
I'm actually asking that because I saw it on her thing. Yeah,
that's happened to a few friends before. But no, I think the most of the Canadian celebrities I've seen at like TIFF or at like the film festival, TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, which attracts a ton of celebrities. So at a few restaurants, I've seen some like actors and different like Idris Elba and a few others that have come. But yeah. Never seen Drake.
Okay, maybe in Miami you will.
Yeah.
Okay, and now, so you have the story with Nicaragua and Canada, but you currently live in a beautiful sunny Miami. So tell us why America?
It really was, the decision was heavily to do with my wife, Gabby, who was born and raised here. She came to Toronto for a little bit, realized she didn't like the cold. And then
Can't blame you, Gabby.
Yeah, and then we made the move here. And we really, as like the life we were creating, we wanted to design something that we really were excited about. And moving here with the amazing weather and the incredible people that we've met here has just been the life that we love. And not saying that we didn't love Toronto, it was just something different and we are very like outdoors.
Love the beach.
People love the beach, love the ocean, love to be outside, love to be active, play sport. And this was just a place that aligned with the lifestyle that we wanted to live.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What is like the most bizarre thing you've seen in Miami so far?
Oh my gosh. The most bizarre thing I've seen in Miami, I've seen my fair share of bizarre things. When Gabby and I recently moved here, we were driving and we were going to the gym early in the morning, and it was probably like 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, 7, 8, or around there, morning time. And we took a wrong turn going to the gym, and we passed this place that I now know to be Space, which is like
Oh, the
a
nightclub?
nightclub. And I was like, what the heck are all these people doing here?
Yeah.
And they were coming out of the nightclub.
To go
And
to
it was like
space?
8 in the morning. And
Yeah.
then there was people arriving
Yeah.
at 8 in the morning.
Yeah,
And
space.
it
The
was a
party
moment.
starts at 8.
It was a moment I realized, I was like, oh, there is 2 lives you can live here. 2
Absolutely.
lives. And people think it's only one. People think of Miami and they're like, oh, it's 11, it's space, it's the $1,000 dinner, it's the go out until 10 in the morning. And it's like, yeah, if you decide to live that life. Or you can decide to live another life. So that was probably the most bizarre thing I've seen. I was like, this is crazy.
It's far from your reality.
Yeah.
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 Looking to create unforgettable moments in Miami, whether it's a romantic proposal, a dreamy picnic, or a special celebration, Maza events bring your vision to life. We handle every detail so you can simply show up and enjoy the magic. Book your experience today. Send us a DM on Instagram Maza_events or fill out the booking form in the show notes. Okay, so what was the hardest part of moving to the United States for you?
Oh my gosh, the process of doing it, going through due process and doing it the right way.
Yes.
Gabby and I got married December 29th, 2022. I didn't have my official departure date from Canada to the US until January 8th of this year.
Why such a delay?
We had to send text messages, photos, flight itineraries together, all of our bona fides, all of our proof of our relationship was unbelievable. And I'd already been working in the US for years with my E1 visa, which was the trade agreement visa with Canada and the US. So I was already coming in here and working legally, and just the process of the amount of things we needed to provide. And luckily I worked with an extraordinary lawyer. Immigration lawyer, Nisha. She is the best. Shout out, Nisha. And she guided us through the whole process. It would have been impossible to do it without her. But that was the hardest thing. Like the actual process.
Paperwork.
Oh, 100%. And the interview was a breeze. The series of 3 interviews was easy, but the whole process was wild.
I can imagine. So you moved here basically for love, but what resources do you think you had when you moved here? No matter if it's like financial or support or, I'm sure you lacked something or missed something or needed something when moving here.
That's a good question. What support I wish I needed more of would really be clarity in it's very like nuanced, but clarity in the taxation process and the setting up accounts, because I was kind of caught in this catch-22 moment where I came here and I needed to get my driver's license in order to open a bank account. But in order to get my driver's license, I needed my social security number. But my social security number wasn't going to be sent until I got my green card, which was a few months later. But I needed everything going to a U.S. bank account. All of my income in terms of my organization needed to go to the U.S. So I literally, Gabby and I show up to the DMV at like 5:30 in the morning. We line up for like 2 hours. We finally get to the interview set, like to work with the lady, and she goes, "Do you have your social security number?" I was like, "I don't, because I just moved here a week ago and I need my driver's license in order to open my bank accounts. But that's not coming for a few months." And she's like, "I can't give you your license." I was like,
nightmare.
but I just moved here and I need a license in order to open my bank account, but the social security number isn't coming for a few months.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I don't know what to tell you. You're going to have to wait." So then I Google Social Security Administration office. It was down the street. We drive down the street. We walk in, didn't have an appointment. You needed an appointment. I go up to the guy. I was like, "Hey, listen, here's the situation. I just went down the street. I need my social security number. I know it's not being sent, but is there a way you could just tell me it so I could bring it to them?" And they were like, "I'm not supposed to do this, but what I can do is I see your social security number has been issued, but it's going to be sent in the mail, so you're going to have to wait." I'm like, "But
Can
you
you
could
tell
just
me?
verbally say it
Yeah,
out
yeah, yeah.
loud, right?
Did he?
And like tell it. And he's like, you need a form from them, from the DMV, for me to be able to certify it. I'm like, do you have
Oh,
that form?
back and forth.
And he was like, I technically have the form. And I was like, are you authorized to sign it? And he's like, I technically can sign it. I was like, so can you give me the form and then I could sign it here and you could sign it as a witness? And he's like, well, technically, yeah. And I'm like, can you do that? And then I can bring this? And he's like, listen, I'm not supposed to do this, but he gave me the form. I go back. They're all sold out of interviews for the day, and because they're packed. So I walk in and I see the same girl because she's like, if you get your social security number, just come back to me. And I see her and she's like, she sees me holding the form and she's like, you got it?
How? Yeah, she must have been shocked because this is a miracle.
And she was like, okay, come. And she brings it through, and they were supposed to give me an appointment to get my driver's exam to get a license. And then I go to this other girl, they process it, they ask me a bunch of questions, and then she's like, do you have a Canadian driver's license? I was like, yeah. She's like, give it to me. And she gets my license, and she's like, okay. She goes to the back for like 10 minutes. And she comes back, and she hands me a U.S. driver's license, like on the spot.
How?
I went to Chase, and my banker was like, I've been here for 10 years. I've never seen them do that ever. And then I was able to set up my banking and get a credit. And then getting a credit card was also crazy because I had no credit here. So I had two friends put me on their credit, but I needed credit history and all of this stuff. And like getting all of those pieces set up was quite the battle. But finally, everything is set. We have a credit card. And
congratulations.
Like, all the pieces.
Congratulations.
But it's bananas.
It is completely bananas.
Oh my gosh.
Like, my immigration lawyer, she passed away before I got my citizenship. So everybody has a crazy visa story. And you know, people, they assume like, oh, you go to America, you live on the beach and everything is perfect. But they don't know what it really is to go through all this legal stuff.
Yes.
It's headache, it's expensive, it's delays, it's stressful, it's a lot to deal with. So you already said a lot about the visa situation, but like looking back, what is one word you would define this visa situation?
Long.
Long, yes.
Complex, like not really complex, but just long. Where I was like, I could give you all of the things you need in a day. Can we just get this going? I'm
glad you asked though, like the officer that was like, you have to like prep him, but you asked. You were like, I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm gonna get my thing, and I haven't come
this far to come this far.
Exactly. Like, let's 100%,
go. 100%.
Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of you. You're so smart. Okay. So obviously English is your perfect language now, even though you do speak Spanish. Do you see any differences between Canadian English and American English?
Lightly. Yeah. People can still kind of weed out that I'm from Canada based on out or about or those. I say a little differently, but people like my English is practically, if you go to the middle of Canada, a little bit different. That sounds much more Canadian. If you go to Calgary and around that area. But no, I feel like Toronto is very, like, you know, culturally similar to the U.S.
To Miami, probably, because it's melting pot, right?
Very.
So, and you also speak Spanish?
Yes.
Spanish and English?
Yes.
Any other language?
No French.
No French? No. Okay. Do you have any word in English that still gives you a little hard time to pronounce?
No.
No, you good now? Well, you're a keynote speaker, so
yes, have to be
perfect vocabulary.
Yeah.
However, I do have a little tongue twister prepared for you.
Oh,
so
gosh.
let me see.
Oh gosh.
Let me see what you get, Juan. Okay, so I'll show you this little sentence.
Okay.
And please repeat it 3 times and each time faster if you can.
Okay.
You should be pro at this, okay?
Oh,
Let's see. So, ready?
Yes. It has a bunch of like S's, doesn't it? Or something like that, or a bunch of like R's. It's definitely an S.
It is an S.
Is it an S actually?
It is an S.
Yeah, yes. These tongue twisters, I'm gonna do poorly at this. Oh gosh.
Oh, okay. Ready?
Yes. The six sheiks. Is that sheiks? 6 sheep's sick. The sixth, sick, sheik's, sixth, sheep's, six. The sixth,
Faster!
sheik's, sixth, sheep's, sick. Wow.
Well, you did great. You did great.
Is that pronounced chic?
I think shake.
Shake?
Shake?
Shake, chic. Yeah, the S and the H. That's a hard one.
The 6 shake 6.
Oh, see, you're fast. You're pretty fast. No, far faster than I was.
I couldn't do it well though. Okay, and if there's a one word that sums up your entire immigration journey, what would that be?
Grateful.
Oh, no one said that yet on the podcast.
Yeah, grateful.
Why?
I think both in America and in Canada, calling both countries out, many people around our age have no idea how good they have it. They have no clue. People that were born in this country, even people that move here, they have no idea and they complain about the way that things are, and they don't remotely realize how easy and how unbelievable of an opportunity it is to live in a country like this or a country like Canada. We don't know what it's like for when my mom was in school having to get under the desk because they were bombing around the school. They have no idea what it's like for my dad wanting to go to a summer camp because all of his friends were going and his best friend Herman was going to this summer camp, and my grandma was like, "You are not going." And my dad was crushed. He was pissed. He was angry at my grandma. He didn't understand why he couldn't go. And it turns out that summer camp was run by the Communist Party, and when his best friend Herman showed up, he was shot in the head. We have no problems. And I feel like sometimes people here lose perspective and they complain about their Starbucks drink order being wrong. Yes. They complain about meat. They complain about inflation or tariffs or I get it. I understand that those are challenges, but I think it would be gratitude because even coming from Canada, from an amazing country to another amazing country, do both have problems? Absolutely. Yeah. Are both in tricky situations right now? Yes. But they're both countries you do not need to fear for your life. You can get clean drinking water. You can build the American dream, even if it's hard to do and you got to put the work in. So, yeah, I would just say, people will say, how are you? People typically answer with fine. I try my best to remember to answer with happy to be here. Aww. Whenever people say, how are you? Happy to be here. Even if that means I'm stuck in an airport and a flight is delayed, or in a situation, I'm happy to be here.
That's beautiful.
It's a way better way to live. Mm-hmm. Way better.
I can relate to what you just said because I'm from Slovakia. We have it very different. And when I moved here, I realized how amazing this country is, how many opportunities are here, and how many different brands of food, of milk or bread, or how many types of banana you have. And I was like, wow.
That's insane.
And sad to say it, but most of the Americans, they don't really see it that way because for them it's given. They consider it normal.
Yeah.
Okay. So how has being an immigrant shaped you?
I would say, sort of speaking to the perspective that it's given me, I think that has been the ultimate thing because my mom and my dad would never let me forget it. Mm-hmm. They would never let me forget the fact that we have it so good here. You have it so good. You live such a blessed life that is not going to be short of challenges or stress or adversity, but you have no idea what hard is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You don't know what hard is. That's why when I have friends, I have very little patience with friends when they're like, I'm tired today. That's a privilege. You get to be tired. Being tired is a privilege. You didn't have to wake up at 4 a.m, take 3 buses because you're a single mother needing to put food on the table. You don't have the right to be tired if you're a millennial that works remote. You have no right to be tired. You're tired, walk it off.
Exactly. Or take a cold shower and wake up.
Exactly.
Or have a coffee.
100%.
You just you reminded me of something. We were walking down the streets in Brickell recently. It was like 8 p.m. And there was this lady, Spanish lady, and she was asking, where is the bus station? So like I tried to guide her with my broken Spanish, and I told her like where she has to go, and then we just continue our thing. And then couple blocks down, we met her again, and I was like, "Do you still need help?" And she's like, "Yeah, I can't find it." So I was like, I'm just gonna order you an Uber because she showed me that she's coming from Key Biscayne and her final destination is somewhere like Miami Gardens or something. And she had to take like three different buses and it was supposed to take her like 2 hours. And I was like, oh my God, I remember that struggle because I had to do that when I moved here too. Not all the way, only like 30 minutes ride, but still I was like, you know what, if I'm in a position to get her an Uber, which is gonna cost me $20, like I would much rather get her the Uber ride, than her trying to like figure out how she's gonna get there. And I was like, I just had so much empathy for her. I felt so bad. So you just reminded me of that story that there is still a lot of people who are at the beginning of their journey and still confused and need help, and then there is people who can never relate to that.
Yeah, or people that have been dealt a set of cards that have set them up to be in a place where it's harder for them.
Yeah.
Like we have privilege, especially in the age that we grew up in.
Yeah. So many opportunities. And to work online,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Even like people like, for example, Jake's parents, they're in their 60s and they're like, you live in such a good era where you can make money from your own living room. And I was like, you know what? That's a great perspective. That's true. We have it really well.
Yeah.
So, what is like one key piece of advice you would give someone who is new, who is immigrating to America?
Engage with the world. Here's what I mean.
Very nice.
People,
elaborate.
and even for people that aren't, just moved here, people that are in a city that want to create an extraordinary life, it is not going to come from finding a magical how, it's going to come from connecting with who's. So you got to engage with the world. If you're at a Starbucks, say hi to the person beside you.
Yes.
If you're in an elevator, start a conversation.
Talk.
You have no idea who you're going to meet and what that relationship is going to transform. So
Absolutely.
I think it is engaging with the world and getting out there. The average, they used to do studies on friendships back in the 70s, 80s, based on your 5 closest friends. Now they've needed to change the studies.
Why?
Because people don't have 5 close friends. They changed the data set to 1 close friend.
That's sad.
It's unbelievably sad because we're living in a pretty isolated world where you can wake up, you can roll out of bed, you can hop on Zoom, you can do your work, you can order Uber Eats, it shows up at your door, then you can watch Netflix because the show that you love keeps on releasing content because they know you'll stay, and then you don't need to engage with people.
Oh
this morning or yesterday, I was talking to Jesse and a few friends. We set up this paddle game, and in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, it's like 30 minutes away. I gotta wake up and drive there. Maybe I just want to go to the gym and kind of be in my own world. I have this podcast, I have this thing. And then I'm like, wait, you gotta get in the world. You have to engage with the world. And I find most people don't do that. And there's a speaker that is in Miami, and he messaged me yesterday. And he's like, hey, and someone that wants to get into the game and all the stuff. And he was like, hey, I'm in Miami. I don't know. I was like, can you be in Brickell for 11:45? And he's like, yeah. I was like, let's do lunch.
Oh, that's amazing.
Just getting in the rooms with people. I would say that is the number one thing. If you're new, if you're alone, if you don't have people, find people. Because everyone kind of just wants to make friends, but no one wants to say anything. We are living in the physical manifestation of a high school dance. You got the girls and you got the guys, and no one wants to talk to each other, but they all want to talk to each other. But you got to be the one that makes the first move.
Step, yeah.
Because not many people will.
You reminded me of another story that I have. My brother was here for 3 months with me, and back home in Slovakia, a small talk, it's not part of who we are. We don't do
Yes.
that. We don't small talk. We either talk for long hours or we don't engage randomly in the elevator or any of that. That's not our thing. So when he moved here, he was almost weirded out by it, like why people want to talk, like these strangers, like what do they want? And I told him exactly what you said, like you never know when this small talk can open new door for you. Like embrace it, enjoy it, and it's gonna be awkward maybe. Like what are you gonna talk about? The weather, the shoes, whatever. But still, you never know how the small talk can help you. So this is something that I also learned on my journey is that the small talk doesn't need to be awkward because we are two strangers who don't know each other. Like we can still become friends out of one sentence or one compliment.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that about America. Like it's easy to get connections because of the small talk culture, which is not a culture for a lot of other countries.
100%.
Love it. So, what is your wow, I've made it moment in America so far?
The wow, I've made it moment in America honestly was it's like a small moment, but it was like getting everything set up, like getting my license, and I'm like, oh, but I'll say the one I made it moment was getting approved at the interview. That was the one, like,
Yes,
that was
yes,
like the,
yes,
okay,
yes,
2 years
yes.
in the making,
Mm-hmm.
we did it, and then when my passport came in the mail.
Two
And like
years in the making?
2.5
Some
years.
people have 10 years in the
Oh,
making.
I know. It
So
was,
you did it quick.
yes,
Congrats.
yeah, but getting my passport with my I-551
Mm-hmm.
in there, that was like my immigrant visa, getting that was like, that was a cool, like, okay, we did it. Let's go.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so excited for you. I have one more question about the visa stuff.
Mhm.
I'm not going to dive too deep into it. I'm just curious because I don't know much about it. So, before you came here with Gabby, is there a way to get visa just so you can do your job? Is it a hard process?
Yeah, that one's a little more straightforward. So I got an E1 visa, which was a trade visa, a trade agreement visa that Canada and the US have.
For how long is that?
Based on trade, that's 5 years.
That's amazing.
It's awesome, and it's pretty straightforward to get. You need to have proof of like the business you do. There's demand for trade. So there was a lot of events and a lot of organizations that were looking to hire me as a keynote in the US. So that really helped, and I had my agency, my business manager that like wrote a letter. He was from the US, and like with his agency, it's like we are going to book Juan for X amount of events over the X amount of years. But that was a pretty seamless process. I think I got that visa in like 6 months.
Oh my God,
Around there.
that's so quick.
And that was a work visa. So that didn't technically allow me to live here, but it let me work in the US.
That's amazing.
Which was fantastic. Yeah.
That's amazing. That sounds a little easier than
Slovakia. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Then moving here, it's way easier. Way easier.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit more about your mindset.
How so? In what context?
What happens in your mind when you wake up? How do you live life? What is your lifestyle?
I think, in the context of my career is really helping people and encouraging people to be their best and to find confidence in who they are. I definitely have this, like, I want to be the person that people can aspire to be. And I feel like I'm a very, at times annoyingly positive person, and people are like, oh, it's toxic positivity. I'm like, yeah, I'd rather be toxically positive than toxically negative.
Oh, yeah.
So I very much so take the approach of like, I'm happy to be here. I'm very much so like, what's the, like, not glass half empty or glass half full. I'm just grateful to have a glass of water. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that way, but that takes effort because and I talk about this with organizations that I work with, 80% of our thoughts every single day are negative.
Negative, yeah.
80%, 95% of them are repeated from the day before.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a negativity bias that is geared towards focusing on what's wrong and focusing on what's wrong with us. So our brains are filled with thoughts like, if you do that, you'll probably fail. No one's going to listen to that episode. You're not going to be really great at that. You can never earn that much. You can never build a business out of that. You don't have that in you. So I feel like people will see, it's like, do you not ever get tired? I'm like, no, not really. Do you ever like have bad, but I am a psycho when it comes to what I do in order to get there. So I get really great sleep. I get in a cold plunge every single morning, and it is painful. And I take things in that are really positive and encouraging. I surround myself with people that are positive and encouraging. So it takes work to have a great mindset. It takes work to be positive. It's easier to be negative. It's easier to be stressed. It's easier to be worried. So I would say my mindset is very much so one that is based on the where are we going? How can we grow? How can we help other people do the same? But sure, I have moments where my mind doom spirals into the worst case scenario. I just don't let that be the main character.
Love it. You sound like you have attitude of gratitude that's keeping you going, right?
100%.
Love it. So, you are called a walking shot of espresso. So, where's all your energy coming from?
Twofold. Number one is I've realized that, and something I always tell friends or clients or colleagues is the fact that people meet your energy before they meet you.
Yes.
People meet your energy before they meet your resume, your credentials, your background, who you are. So I realized that in order to be influential, you've got to, people meet that energy far before they meet anything that you're going to say. So I have to show up with great energy because people remember they don't remember the words you said. They remember how you made them feel, as Maya Angelou said. So one side of it is like, I know the outcomes that I want are going to require a level of energy for me to bring, especially in doing keynotes for organizations or conferences. And the second side of it is I believe that energy is the most important thing ever, period. So I do a lot of things that allow me to have great energy, that facilitate that. I take care of myself physically, eat great food, get good sleep, cold water exposure, sun, all the good stuff, work out. I also surround myself with really great people. So there's physical energy, there's environmental energy, surrounding yourself with great people, and then there's psychological energy. I focus on the things I'm looking forward to, as opposed to the things that stress me out. I'm focusing on the best outcomes possible, as opposed to the worst case scenario. And by doing those things, by handling those three things, physical energy, environmental energy, psychological energy, I can turn it around. Sure, there's moments where I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm feeling a little hazy, I'm feeling a little tired, but then I'm like, I'm going to turn that around, because I feel like a lot of people fight for the reasons as to why they're tired so we get to keep them. Like, oh, the kids have been so hard. I haven't gotten good sleep. Great. Everyone has really good reasons to be tired, but we shouldn't fight for those reasons. We should fight for the reasons why we can feel energized.
Attention, listeners. Don't forget to leave us a review to help this podcast grow. You can also subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and Spotify to keep up with the latest episodes. And now, thank you so much for flying the Unstoppable Immigrant airwaves, and let's get back to the show. Okay, so 5 things you recommend to the listeners to do to stay positive, optimistic, happy.
5? You give me 5? That's amazing. I
there is
only get
500, like but 5 most important
amazing. Number 1 is surround yourself with great people. Yes. You will rise to the level of the environment you put yourself in. So if you surround yourself with people that are complaining, you will find yourself focusing on what's wrong. Surround yourself with great people. And some people say, I don't know anyone here. Listen to a podcast. I'm sure you know a great one if you're listening to this right now. Listen to someone that brightens your day. Read a great book. Listen to an inspiring video. Like, surround yourself with great people. Number 2 is to earn growth. What I mean by that is people think that they're like, oh, I just need to do the law of attraction and I just got to invest in this cryptocurrency and I just need to do this thing and then I'm going to win big. It's like growth comes from you doing something so often, so consistently that you improve in it, and that improvement starts to compound on itself. So if you want to experience happiness or joy, I believe happiness comes from progress. They did a study. This was crazy. They did a study that found that happiness actually, when it comes to income that you earn, it wasn't correlated to how much you earned. It was the delta between what you earned in year X versus what you earned in year Y. Meaning, if someone earned 50,000 a year baseline and that's all they earned, they would have a certain level of happiness. But if someone earned 50,000 a year and then the next year they earned 60, their happiness would be unbelievably different than someone that earned 50 and then earned 45.
Of course.
So, but if someone, for example, if someone earned 50,000 a year and then the next year they earned 60, they'd be really happy. If someone earned 80, the next year they earned 75, they would be significantly less happy than the person that ended up earning 60. It's not about the number, it's about the growth of it. So I think one of the most important things is see where you are and then draw a line of where you want to be 6 months from now. Commit to growth, whether that's getting healthier, getting in shape, losing the 10 pounds, deciding to start investing in yourself or investing into the market. Do something where you can draw a path to growth. That's the second thing. The third thing is to work out every day.
Yes, every day,
every
7
single day.
days.
Every single day.
Okay.
Someone does not have no one has the excuse to not move your body. And I'm talking about a 20-minute walk as well. Counts.
Just move your body.
Move
Doesn't
your
need to
body,
be like weight.
because we were not meant to sit in a chair and then sit on a couch and stare at blue light for 12 or 13 hours in a day.
Yes.
You need to move your body because movement generates energy. Energy inspires action. Action is what leads to results. So you've got to move your body every day. No excuse. So that's 3.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is to take something in that is positive, inspiring, that you can learn from every single day. Learn something. Read a book. Listen to a podcast. Watch a video. Take something in that's bettering yourself.
Absolutely.
That is making you say oh, I'm actually learning something here. And then number 5, what would be the last one? Number 5 would be to do something every single day to move you towards the dream that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're in a job right now that you don't enjoy, because most people are.
Sadly.
Most people are working in a job that they're not aligned with, or that they don't feel like it's the dream.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing that, that's totally okay. Just work on the dream for 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. If you want to be a singer, sing. If you want to be a writer, write something down. If you want to be a comedian, if you want to start a business, if you want to build a consulting firm, work on that dream every single day, because I feel like sometimes people let go of their dreams because they don't think it's possible for them.
Mm-hmm.
It only is if you decide to give up on it. So decide to work on that dream every single day.
Put the work in.
Yeah, those would be my 5.
So how do you define success?
That's a really good question. Success is being happy with where your life is, having the satisfaction of the relationships that you have, the career that you're in, being grateful for it all, but still knowing that there's another level. I feel like there's this duality where people are you should be happy with you, or you should be a monk, and the monk who sold his Ferrari, and think like a monk, and I get it. And it's you should be happy with all your material possessions. Sure, yes, I get that. And you should also have a growth path for your life.
Absolutely.
You should also have something. It's okay, because I find that sometimes people make you feel guilty for wanting nice things, or wanting the nice house, or wanting the oceanfront view, or wanting the nice car. You shouldn't feel bad about wanting those things if you earn them. If they act as totems or milestones along the way. If you reach a certain milestone, you want to get yourself a nice car, people are oh no, cars aren't the sign of success. Have you sat in a Ferrari before?
Exactly.
But it's okay if you treat that like a trophy, and if it's for you, not for other people.
It's important to enjoy fruit of our own labor.
For sure.
Correct?
But don't do it for other people.
No, for our own
Don't drive the nice car because it's for someone else, because it's a virtual signal. Yeah. Don't do it to impress others. But if you like it, for example, I have a friend, Taz. You know Taz. Mm-hmm. And he loves cars. He loves it. He loves the engine. He loves the mechanics. He loves how the cars work. For me, I'm really not a big car guy. Like, I remember driving because he had like a luxury rental car business, and he had the Ferraris and the Lambos and the McLarens.
So you've tried them all?
And I drove the Lamborghini truck, the
Oh,
Urus,
yeah,
and it was so uncomfortable, and I hated it, and it sucked, and I was like, this is awful, and like it felt like a spaceship, but some people like it, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. But find what I think true success is finding what you like. Yes. Finding what you enjoy.
What makes
you happy.
Finding
your passion projects. Finding what makes you happy. And if that's going to a $200 dinner, cool. If that's flying business class, awesome. If that's buying a nice watch, amazing. Like, do the things that make you happy.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the ultimate sign of success, is doing it for you, not doing it for others.
Beautiful. Okay, Juan, so you are a globally recognized speaker, entrepreneur, the coach to other CEOs, Olympians, Grammy-winning artists, actors, and a Fortune 100 leaders. How was speaking in front of people like Disneyland, Zillow, and all other companies? Tell us more about your career.
It was a little crazy because over the past year in doing keynotes for Zillow or American Express or Lindt Chocolate a few weeks ago, or U.S. Bank or Fidelity or Nationwide or Allstate, like these massive companies with all of their senior leaders. And I'm this like 30-year-old kid, and I have this thought in my mind, I'm like, what do I have to provide or share to them? What are they going to listen? Are they going to take me seriously? And what I've found is that adults oftentimes are kids that just have official titles. And that we all want to believe in ourselves, and we all need that encouragement, and we all have things that we're afraid of, and we all have things that stress us out, and we all are just trying to get through this dance of life and be a success, whatever that means for us. So it's been really eye-opening to see. Like, I was just in Nashville last week with like 300 CEOs, entrepreneurs, senior leaders, senior executives that built
massive
big companies. And I've realized that in conversations with them, they're just trying to figure it out. They're just trying to build a great business. They're just trying to remember to schedule the date night. They're just trying to build a great relationship, spend time with their kids, enjoy it all, go on the trip,
travel
human. To Europe.
They're still human.
Everyone. It doesn't matter the title or the position or the role that you have. Like, sure, the people will take you seriously, but I think when you come in there and you're just like, I want to share these ideas that I think will be really helpful, people really appreciate it. So
of course,
it's been awesome to see.
So public speaking is very fearful for a lot of people. I would say statistically it's, I think, number 1 or 2 biggest fear. So how did you overcome the fear of public speaking?
Reps. Doing it so often and so much that I had no choice but to get comfortable with it. But my first speech, like before people see the like stadiums and the 10,000 person 360 arenas and the conferences and the big events or the big brands, they're like, they don't see the 25 people in a classroom. They don't see the 7 people sitting around a table. They don't see the 170-year-olds at 7 in the morning while they ate breakfast when I was 19. Because I didn't ask for the age of the audience. I was just excited to go. I show up to this restaurant, true story, and I walk in and there are senior citizens, like just sitting eating breakfast. And I'm like, is this for the Rotary Club? And they're like, yeah, we're super excited to have you. I was speaking for an hour in the middle of the restaurant, surrounded by these senior citizens, and I was 19. And I was supposed to talk about motivation. What are they motivated by? What's a 70-year-old motivated by?
Did you have to pivot on spot?
Yeah, I completely threw out everything that I prepared. And I had to just talk for an hour. And then over time, I started getting good. I started learning how to tell stories. And what I've found is that no one's actually afraid of speaking, because if I put anyone in a room alone, they'd be able to talk.
Absolutely.
It's when you put other people in the room that's the problem. People aren't afraid of public speaking. They're afraid of being judged.
Wow,
They're
yeah.
afraid of what other people will think of them. They're afraid of messing up. They're afraid of stumbling over their words. So if you can realize that people are just there and they want to have a good time and they want to be entertained and they want to enjoy themselves, and if you can just be real and authentic, which is hard. You know, Miles Davis, famous jazz musician, said it took me 10 years to learn to play like myself. That is the ultimate goal. It is hard to be yourself in front of 1,000 people. It's really hard.
How long have you been speaker?
10 years.
That's impressive. I'm so proud of you.
It's very,
Really?
but only recently. I've gotten to the point where I feel like I can fully be myself on stage. That was after probably 600 keynotes. 600.
Wow.
I finally got to a place where I was like, okay, I can chill. It's all right, because doing all these, like, going to American Express last year, I was nervous. And I
That's
was like,
huge.
these leaders, and I'm this kid, and everyone's 10, 20 years my senior, and I'm like, I'm just this random Canadian. I got to bring it. I really have to show up. So it's a process, but I think it was getting the reps of doing it over and over and over and over and over again. That's what really was the X factor.
What is key to your success being a recognized keynote speaker?
Oh my gosh, I will be more consistent than is even remotely reasonable. Where people will say, I had so many people in my life, friends, family, that were like, so because at the beginning, it was a struggle, it was a grind. And people are like, I don't know if this is a good idea. You should try coaching. You should go into something else. You should go to school. You should try something else. And I'm like, I get that.
Doubt.
But I'm going to keep on doing this past the point where the average person would quit. That's the X factor that I feel like I've had, is that I'm willing to go past the point where most people would quit.
You're a hard worker. I love it.
But I think it's not even the hard work.
Persistence?
It's the consistency past the point where you have a shred of proof that you should be consistent. A lot of people can work hard for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people can work hard for 75 days and do 75 hard and do 2 workouts a day and journal for every single day and read 10 pages of a book and do no alcohol, and then on day 76 they eat a tub of ice cream. I've seen it happen. So it's not about, I always tell people, it's not about doing for something for 75 days. It's do something for 300 days. Show me what you can do for a year and a half with no results.
It's hard, mentally.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's what real hard is. Hard isn't waking up at 5 in the morning and going to the gym for 90 minutes and going hard and being so sore the next day. That's not hard. That's stupid. That's not hard. Running a marathon in a day and waking up the next day and doing and going. All this rise of Navy SEAL advice. I love Goggins and I love Jocko. I met Jocko and I were keynoting an event years ago. I love those guys. But not everyone's made to be a Navy SEAL. Yes. Some people, you're an accountant. You're a, you know what I mean? Like, you're not a Navy SEAL. I'm not a Navy SEAL. Don't use their, like, this is what you gotta do. You gotta wake up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. One of my closest friends, Matt, entrepreneur, I don't know if you've met Matt. Maybe, like, he came to visit with Anastasia, who's from Moldova. And he's one of the most genius business minds I've ever met. He's probably does 200, 300,000 a month, and is that guy that will have a private plane. He wakes up at like 9. So I'm sorry. Clearly, the 5 a.m. club is flawed, because people are like, you have to wake up at 5 a.m. You got to work hard. Like, yes, you also need to just be strategic in working hard in the outcome that you want.
Absolutely.
Like, for speaking, there's a certain formula. For building a drop shipping business, there's a certain formula. For being a consultant, there's a certain formula. For being a videographer, there's a certain formula. Follow that formula. Don't try and be like, oh, I'm trying to do video production. I'm trying to build a production agency. I'm going to go see what a Navy SEAL has to say. Like, what?
That's so out of place.
Doesn't make sense.
At all. So can you share one embarrassing story from speaking?
Oh my gosh, which one?
Choose one that's like the craziest, please.
I would say one of my first like high school assemblies, because I didn't know how to use a mic. So with a microphone, a handheld microphone, if you go over here, they can no longer hear you.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you're making hand gestures, this sounds that
Yeah.
like you cut off every other word. And I didn't know resonance. I didn't know how to control an audience. And it was 1,000 high school students sitting on the floor of a gym. And I lost them completely. And it just bombed. Like bombed
Did they make fun of you?
bad.
Like, boo.
Oh, hardcore. Like, because high school students will let you know if you suck. And they're ruthless. They're like, yeah, I don't like that. And they'll talk over you. So that was one. There was another school. It was like 3,000 students sitting in a gym on bleachers. I had to stand in the middle. The acoustics were awful. And they basically introduced me like, we have a speaker. Here you go. That's it.
Oh,
and
God.
these kids were like,
Me.
it was talking over me like AirPods. It was bad. But those situations trained me
I was gonna ask.
in order to, with adults and with corporate audiences, just crush. Like I'll tell, because so many people want to be speakers,
Right.
and very few actually are. You know, I've met a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm an inspirational speaker, and they just want to be. It's very aspirational, but they're not actually doing it.
Right.
And I would tell speakers that want to get in the game, go speak to a high school.
That's gonna train you up.
That'll humble you real quick.
Yes.
Real quick.
So you wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
So proud of you. It's called Confidence by Choice. Do you want to tell us more?
Yeah, that was a 10-year dream. It's not out yet. It's coming out this August. And it was a 10-year dream in the making because when I was a sophomore, I was in Miss H's class, who was my English teacher, and I had a dream of wanting to be an author because there was books that changed my life, and I was like, I could do that same thing. And Miss H, we're going around the class sharing our like goals, and Miss H gets to me and she's like, Juan, what's your goal? I was like, I want to be a writer. And she said, like, without missing a beat, she's like, Juan, you're not a writer. Writing is a gift you're born with, and you just weren't. I'm giving you a grade to pass mostly because I don't want to see you again. I suggest you not go into a career that requires you to communicate. And at that time, at that age, it like destroyed my self-confidence. I gave up on that dream. 10 years go by, and I have this idea for a book and a model called the confidence cycle, which is a framework to be able to build confidence in ourselves, inspire it in others. And I felt like I could still hear Miss H's voice. And I had a friend and a business manager, Josh, who was like, I think you just got to go for it. So we put this proposal together, and I go door knocking on the biggest publishers in the world in New York City, Penguin Random House, HarperCollins, Hachette Hay House. And rejection after rejection started rolling into my email of this wouldn't feel right on our list. We only work with established authors. It's a no from us. It fell flat on the page. No, sorry. And after rejection 29, email comes in from Penguin that says, hey, we'd love to partner with you on this project. All the best, Penguin Random House. And I thought it was spam. I literally thought it was a spam email. And we signed the deal with them 2.5 years ago. And that was working with their team has been extraordinary. And the book launches this August 5th. And it's been 2.5 years in the making with their team. And working with a writing team and a research team and their entire editorial team and their PR team. It's just been unbelievable. And it is the project that I've poured the most time and energy and effort into out of anything I've ever done. And it comes out in August. So I'm super excited.
I am so, so, so proud of you and happy for you. This is absolutely unbelievable. Okay, so can you tell to our listeners where they can purchase your book, how they can connect with you?
Yeah, Confident by Choice on all major platforms, Penguin, Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, all major platforms where you can buy books. You can pre-order it now. Pre-orders literally went live like 13 days ago.
Need to pre-order.
And then on August 5th, it will be delivered right to everyone's door. And then socials is, just my name, Juan Bendaña. On Instagram, LinkedIn are probably the two where I hang out the most, but the book is everywhere live as of a few weeks ago. Yeah.
What was your biggest inspiration to write that book?
Honestly, it was giving people an answer for those of us who weren't born with confidence but have the belief that anyone can build it. Because there's some people that have all the confidence in the world naturally, but those are exceptions. not the rule. Most people have to build their confidence in themselves, and there's a lot of things that can get in the way of our confidence. There's a lot of things that can tear our confidence down or test our confidence. So I wanted it to be, the answer for those of us that want to live our best life, want to get to that next level professionally, personally,
Yes.
but don't really know the roadmap to do so. So a personal development, personal growth book that is the answer for getting to that next level, for showing up as our best, building confidence and inspiring it in others.
I have another question about your book because I could ask you many more questions, but I have another one. To whom do you dedicate this book?
Two people. Number one is Gabby, my wife, who is the most important person in my life. And I would not be a shred of the person that I am without her. She was there at the very beginning. She loved me when I was, 75 pounds overweight, obese, 27% body fat. When I was making no money, when I had $600 in my bank account. And she was there sitting in a high school on the bleachers in the corner when I was speaking to a gym that wasn't listening. And she was there at the very beginning. I always joke with her that she bought Apple stock at $10 and she got in early
Oh my
because, yeah. So her, and then the second would be my mom, because a lot of people in, aunts and uncles and people in my life, people in my family, when I dropped out of school, they were like, you got to go to school, you got to get a degree, you got to get a good job. Like, what are you doing the speaking thing? You're not going to take it seriously. And I remember seeing there, like, you if you want to make a good living, you got to be a lawyer, you have to be you have to go to school, get a great job, be in consulting, make six figures a year. And she was one of the only people I could see that vision. And she's like, I know whatever you do, you're going to be successful. And she was saying that like as a mom, but now being able to show her like, hey, like I had this month that was the equivalent to what I would make in a year as a lawyer. And like being able to show her that and show her the book deal with Penguin and bring her and my entire family to a stadium that I did in Indianapolis with 27,000 people, the largest education event in the world, and being the main stage opener for that, 65,000 people over 2 days,
Wow.
was just the coolest thing in the world.
I'm sure she is so proud of you, and I'm sure for her being an immigrant who escaped the war in Nicaragua, and like she brought you here and you achieved this much, I'm sure she's probably the happiest person on earth. So.
100%.
I have a question for you when it comes to confidence, which I like to ask my male friends. When you look in the mirror, who do you see?
Ooh, two people. And this is something I've been thinking about recently. I see that 8-year-old me that I want to make proud, the kid that had all the dreams, that was like, had just all of the ambition in the world. I want to make that kid proud and to like show him who he has become and who he can become. And then I see the 80-year-old me, who is the one that has lived a full life, that can look back and be proud of what they have created and have that feeling of like you left it all out on the court.
I could cry right now, but I can't because if I start, I won't stop. So that was a beautiful answer. I'm very proud of all of your achievements, and you have so much to share with, the people, and you have great energy and you are very inspiring. So please keep going.
100%.
Hello? This is your bright future calling you. What can I do for you?
The first request I will make is for the people in my life to achieve the things that they want and to live the life that they dream of, because I feel like I've been blessed with a life and a career that most people couldn't even imagine, and like doing something I love and I'm passionate about and built a career out of it. So I want that for everyone in my life. That would be my one and only request today, universe, future, me. That would be my one request for everyone in my family, my friends, the people in my life, to be able to live their best life. Because I know if they do, then I will be able to follow suit along the way.
Perfect, your wish is my command. Okay, and the last but not least, we have a one-word answer questions for you.
Ooh.
Okay, ready?
Like rapid fire?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ready to shoot?
Let's go.
What's the first thing you think of when someone says America?
Growth.
What's the weirdest food you've tried in America?
Beef heart.
Where have you tried that?
It was a Peruvian restaurant, but it was yeah.
They serve beef
Yes, anticuchos. Delicious, by the way.
Where can I try it?
Ceviche 105.
We'll make reservation tomorrow. What American celebrity would you be for a day?
Will Smith.
Oh, why?
Because I feel like he has a really cool and exciting life, but also work, and the energy that he brings to things is really awesome. And I feel like he sort of carries himself like as there's like a nucleus around him.
He's like you. He is a walking shot of espresso.
Yeah. He has a great vibe.
Yeah, I love him too. Okay, Juan, thank you. This was extraordinary episode. I really enjoyed it. Your story is beautiful. I hope our listeners can, resonate with what you said and get inspiration and motivation. So yeah, thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast. I loved it.
Thank you so much for flying with Unstoppable Immigrant Airwaves. We hope this podcast brought you joy, motivation, inspiration, and connection. Feel free to share this episode with someone who really needs to hear it. And until next time, stay unstoppable.